Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another stress-inducing ranking video with Mel, me. I know you guys enjoy these videos and I gotta say I do too because I never actually know what I'm going to say until I put them all on the floor. Literally me on my beauty room floor with all my palettes spread out and I'm rearranging and then saying, no, this one needs to go first. No, this one, that's me. And I did that again with my Viseart palettes today for you guys because I know you guys enjoy these videos. And at the end of the day, as stressful and as anxiety inducing as it is, which, you know, it's just makeup. It's not actually that, you know, not that bad, but I enjoy these as well. It's funny to see what you think you're gonna pick and then what you actually end up picking. But anywho, let's get into this ranking video all about Viseart. My love for Viseart has been a little bit of a roller coaster. I absolutely fell in love with the very first palette. Kelsey is the one that bought this for me for Christmas. I had been wanting this so badly. I had been hearing about how great the mattes were, and I really wanted to find out for myself, and I asked for this for Christmas, and she got it for me. And to this day, it is still my favorite palette from Viseart, the original 12-pan matte neutral palette. Yeah, 01 neutral mattes. This palette, oh my gosh, how long have I had it? Years. I remember I had a surgery, go figure. And I remember this package coming in and being so upset that I couldn't play with it right off the bat because I had a knee surgery and I couldn't get in this chair and I couldn't get out of the chair that I was in. But once I got to play with it, I loved it so much and I still do. I have actually replaced this palette because I hit pan on this one here and then a couple others, and I can't stand it when I go through something and I can't just replace them. So I gifted it to somebody else and this is my second one. It's just perfection, especially being mostly neutral. You do have a little splash of some warmth in here, but overall it's a neutral palette. It's an everyday palette. It's all mattes and they perform so well. So this is the palette that I grab for the most. I love taking this with me whenever I go traveling or anything like that because it's going to work for anything I wear. You can't go wrong with this one. So if there's one palette that I would say, if you just got one, it would be the neutral matte. My number 2 palette, I know I usually do this backwards. I usually go from the bottom up, but I'm switching it up on you guys today. Number 2 is the number 10 warm mattes. I honestly almost put all of the 12-pan matte palettes first and then went to the others. And I was like, no. Let me actually put a little bit more thought into this, which ones I use the most and then which ones I gravitate towards for certain type of looks. I really put a lot of thought into this, you guys. This one I love. Not only, again, do you have just really wearable looks, I don't tend to gravitate towards like these shades as much anymore, but if you take this out, you have just a really perfect sister palette to the neutral one. So I love taking these and using them together. So that is why this is number 2, because I use it the most in conjunction with this one. I love pairing them, and then when I do want something that is really warm, this one is amazing. And again, the quality is still phenomenal. I don't think I have an issue with any of the 12-pan matte palettes. They're all just really, really great. They blend out so beautifully. You can build with them. They're all just amazing. This is where it started to get a little harder. I had placed this palette after my 12 pans, and then I was like, well, no. If I think about it, do I like the colors of this one more or less? Which one do I use more? And technically, I have used the other ones that come after this more, but I haven't had this one as long. And it's the Grande Pro number 1. Now, I've taken all my Grande Pros out of the sleeves, and this is what it looks like. All matte, and you've got a little bit of color. You've got neutral, cool, and warm in here. Now, the reason why I picked this as my number 3 palette is because when it comes to the next few, you know, you've got the cool tones and the warm tones, the darker mattes and everything. Overall, the matte formula is my favorite when it comes to Viseart and their shades. I think they do such a phenomenal job with their matte formula. So when I'm looking at the palettes that come after this and then this one, I actually prefer the shades in here. Now, I don't think that you need this one if you have all the 12 pans. Like, it's, you just don't need to have this. And I compared it in my video to the other ones that I have in my collection at that time. And I think I said the same thing, and I still stand by that. I don't think that you have to have them all. But if I was going to pick, say I was going to start all over, I would pick this before I would pick up the other ones. Hope that makes sense. And the ones that I'm referring to are, first off, this. So this is number 4, and I put both the original and the new one just together, and I'll tell you which one I like more. But this is the Cool Mattes 1 and 2. So this is the original one. They have updated their packaging. It's a little sleeker, and you can actually take the shades out, which is really nice. But this is the 1, and this is the 2. So which one do I prefer? I prefer the 2. So if I was going to pick one between the 2, I would pick the number 2. And you can see they're very similar, but I really like the purple that is in here. I like the blue tones and everything. I think originally I liked the first one more, but then as I was playing with them more and more, I ended up falling a little bit more in love with the second version. And I really love cool tones. I know a lot of people are scared of them, but if you just take a palette like this and then take a neutral palette like the very first one and kind of start mixing them together, don't go all the way in, but just kind of mix the neutral and the cool tones, you'll start to get used to it, because I was not used to seeing cool tones on my eyes. And then all of a sudden I was, now I like them all. I don't care if it's cool, warm, neutral, whatever. I definitely have my preferences, but I like seeing all the different tones on my eyes. But I just really have fallen in love with cool and neutrals, where I used to be just like all straight up warm tones. Going back to the warm tones now, number 5, we have the Neutral Mattes 2. This one right here, MILLIEU, I'm going to mispronounce it if I try. This is a palette that I don't really pick up by itself too often, but I like to pair it again in conjunction with the Neutral Mattes 1. You can see why the first one is just something that I love so much, because it is like, it sets the groundwork for everything else. But this one has a bunch of beautiful warm tones, and then you have this blue, this pink in there for a little bit of pop of color. And it's stunning. It's such a fall palette too. Number 6 is the number 4 Dark Matte palette. Now I went back and forth. It was like, do I like this one more or this one more? I can't tell you how many times I switched it up, and I even almost second guessed myself just now, and I almost swapped it again. But I'm sticking with it. I'm staying here because I know that I have reached for this one a little bit more than this palette. Again, this is a sister palette, not one that I would use really all by itself, because it is very dark. What I love about this one is that you have the greens, the orange, the purples, the blue, the maroonish browns. You can actually get a little bit more of a variant with your looks if you were to choose this one. There's just something about the last one that I end up gravitating towards. But when I want to have a little bit more drama and a little bit more color, this is what I like to pick up, especially these greens right here. Number 7, Grande Pro Volume 2. Now, before I get into this palette, I have to tell you guys, in case you didn't know, because some of you guys do know and some of you guys are probably new to my channel, but I talked about my roller coaster. I loved Viseart so much, and then I started to feel like, you know, I wasn't really impressed with their palettes, like the little mini, whatever they're called, and another palette that I'll talk about, and I started to kind of lose my love for Viseart, and I talked about that in a video where I was talking about brands that I love, but I was falling out of love with, and Viseart was on that list, and it was because of, I just felt like, I know that the metallics are supposed to be work appropriate or softer and better for camera and, you know, makeup artists and whatnot, but I was a working makeup artist and I just wouldn't gravitate to them. I just felt like, you know, I would rather have something that had just a little bit more zhuzh to it and be able to soften it and blend it out with a fluffy brush than I would to have just kind of mediocre sorry, kind of lackluster metallics. And so I started to kind of veer away from them. Well, I got an email and I got it from Viseart and I was thinking, oh my gosh, it starts off like I saw your video. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're about to yell at me. Not that they would actually do anything, but you know, you kind of feel about it, especially when you love a brand so much and you're just saying how it is because that's how it is. They said to me, I saw the video, but I would love to send you our next palette so you can test it out. They didn't ask me to do a video. They didn't ask me for anything other than my thoughts. And I was like, what? You want to send me something after I said that I was falling out of love with a brand? What? Brands do that? Brands behaving nicely instead of badly? That was my very first time of just thinking, wow, an authentic, yes, please send it to me. And I was blown away. And it was this palette right here. So I have to tell you, some of these were sent in PR. None of those. I don't think none. No. The Cool Mattes 2, that was sent to me in PR. Most of these I have purchased. Some of them has been sent in PR. And then a lot of the ones I even got sent in PR, I purchased too. So anyway, I just want to let you guys know that I don't always know which ones were sent because I have purchased so many, but I have gotten several in PR. This is one I know I got in PR because of the story behind it. It's the Grande Pro 2. I don't know why I'm rolling my tongue, don't ask. This is what made me start buying Viseart again because I had returned the last palette that I bought before this came out. I had tried a few that they had been putting out and I just was not liking it. This though, this is amazing. This is nothing but sheen right here. So this is definitely a pairing palette. And normally I don't even really like an all, you know, sparkly or metallic, whatever palette. But because I have all of these other ones, it just works out really nicely. And these all have different sheens to them. I don't remember them off the top of my head now, but like one row is a duochrome, and then you got some that are sparkly. You have some that are just straight up metallics. They're gorgeous and they work out so beautifully. So when I saw this, I got excited about the brand again, and I did several different looks using these, and that is what just reignited the flame. Let's do this one. Let's go in with this silver. Yeah, yes. This one right here. They're so beautiful. I know I really enjoyed this one. So look at these. They are stunning. I was blown away to go from like mediocre to this. And it didn't even make any sense. And the purples down here are just stunning. So this is a palette that, again, I like to pair with anything that I just talked about or any other palette that you have. It's just such a good companion. You will not be disappointed if you like to have a bunch of different sheens. Like what's on my eyes right now. I do have a video coming up on this. It's not Viseart, but I love having like this sparkle. And it's not completely opaque. There's a lot of shades in this palette that just have like that sheen to them and the sparkle that aren't super opaque, but they're special. Number 1 for the edits, number 8 for the ranking is the Paris edit. And I think you guys know why. This is so wearable. And it's just, these are my colors. These are my colors. I love neutrals and cool tones right now. And that is what this is. It is an everyday wearable palette. And then you can smoke it out. I could get a softer version of this look with this palette. So say you enjoyed this, but you were like, that's a little too much for me. This is where it's at. This is a great everyday. This is a great work. This is a great bridal. This is just so many different things you can do with it that I love the colors. I love the colors of this. Number 9, I refer back to this palette all the time because there's a lot of palettes that get put out and I'm like, no, you should just get this one. And it is the number 5 Petite Pro Soleil palette. You gotta love color. You have to love color to love this palette. But I do. I love color and I love the pinks. Like this isn't a pink, it's like a watermelon. And then the purples. This one has such a beautiful shift. Like you can see the shift in the pan. Let's see if I can get it in there with my long nails. You see that? The blue and the violet. Oh, it's stunning. And then this yellow is so good. Look at that. This is one I suggest to people all the time if you want to add color to your collection, but maybe you're a little scared of it and you don't want something that is huge, or you don't want something that you're going to spend a lot of money on, this is great because it just gives you a few shades and just some specialness without it being overwhelming. You don't have too many shades in here. The watermelon and the golds and everything, you can really make them a little bit more subtle. And then if you want to, this is so good. If you take this all over, oh, it is just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I just can't rave about this palette enough. Number 10, a more wearable Petite Pro, and this is the number 4, Apricotine. These are the type of warm shades that I'm really into right now. So whereas you saw before the like more intense orange, like very orangey, and then like the reds and all that, I prefer the peachier side, and this is definitely more peachy and more just, it's softer. It's not so intense to where you're gonna look like, oh, yep, you've got the sunset eyes, which I don't mind sunset eyes. I had them yesterday, but this one is just going to be a really great wearable, but still color. It's not boring, but it's not too much either. And I've used this one quite a bit. I think I've actually used this one more than I have the last one, but when I'm thinking about them, this one makes me just a little bit more excited, and I think it's just a little, it's just a little something extra, but this one is definitely a beautiful palette. Number 11 is not for anybody who doesn't like color. If you don't like color, you do not want this palette. Just stay away from it. But if you do like color and you like to be creative, one of my favorite things in terms of creativity is my eyes. That is where I like to take my time and play. And if there's a time where I can actually sit down and play with makeup, it's on my eyes. That's where I have the most fun. It's where I feel like I can be the most expressive, is with my eyes and whatever look I decide to do with it. And this gives you a lot of options. This is the Grande Pro Volume 3. Let me point out, just so that you guys know what I was talking about against the Apricotine. Oh, I had a stack going over here and they're gonna fall over, and that would not be good. So if you can see, like, these are the brighter, more traditional orangey warm tones, and this is definitely more peachy. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like this section right here isn't necessarily what I gravitate towards now as much whenever I'm doing something warm, but when it comes to this palette, this is just in your face, all the colors, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, purples, greens, the minty shades, the blues, and it's all matte. And when I tell you that I was so impressed with how these performed layering, because a lot of the time, especially like shades like this or yellows or anything like that, when you try and layer them and just, you know, do a really intense look that has several shades, they can get muddy, they can blend away, they can be patchy. And that didn't happen with this. If it did, it would just been like, nope, I'm not picking you up ever again. But this is definitely something that it's inspiring. When I look at this, I feel like, oh, I can have so much fun with this. And then if you take this and you add in the Grande Pro Volume 2, it's just like a match made in heaven. In rainbow heaven. Number 11 is something that's a little bit more recent, and it is the Shu Shu palette. This just gets me ready for spring and summer, and I know that it's spring, but because I haven't been able to really enjoy this spring, and it keeps like randomly snowing, who else is doing that? 4 or 5 days ago, it snowed, and then it was 76, and then it was 55, and then I think we're doing 67 today. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just ready for the consistent warmth, and this palette makes me think, come on, sunshine. I am ready for you. I'm ready for just like laying out in the sun with my big floppy hat and a bunch of sunscreen, but I'm still ready to be out there. And it's just, there's something about this that is just slightly tweaked. And this is a really great palette that introduces both natural and the color to it. So if you kind of take away this pink, this beautiful neon coral, and then this like purpley pink, boom, you've got something that's kind of reminiscent of the Apricotine, and then you have this beautiful silver. And so you can get wearable daily looks, and then you have that little punch of color all in one, just a little compact, teeny palette. This shade right here is amazing. I'm gonna swatch this one. It's a duochrome. Oh, I love it. I don't think I'm gonna, it's like peachy and green and gold. It's all the amazing things, all the amazing things. I don't feel like you can really appreciate this until you get it on your eyes and you see in person. But let me, let's look at this silver. See this one? You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this one. Do you see those? And let me get this. Look at this in my nails. And then my eye. It's just like, I don't know, the 80s all over again, but I'm here for it. Number 12, the Liaison palette. Now this one has this little guy right here that has all the names of the palette. You can actually take it out. There's like this little thing right there that allows you to take it out or leave it on if you want to. I leave it there because, you know, you're doing YouTube tutorials. You need those names. But this one, obviously I like purples. Obviously I like cool tones, and this is a palette that I feel like, I think I've done 2 different looks with this one, and it's a purple wearable palette. So if you really enjoy purple, but you don't want it to be, you know, maybe like this, then this is a really great one. Again, all wearable. You could just use those if you wanted to for just a daily look, and then just pop in one of these metallics. And this is where I feel like, okay, this is better. So they're not too intense, but they're not lackluster either. They're right on that middle ground to where I like to have them. So they look pretty by themselves, but they also look amazing when they're used wet. This is the kind of quality that I was looking for, that I felt like I was losing out of the last palette that I'm going to talk about, and then one that I actually took back. There's 2 I actually returned, and one of them came in this, like this type of packaging, which I really, really like, by the way. Yeah, but that's just beside the point. Let's move on to number 13, the Rosé palette. This is one where I kind of feel like you have a little bit of, like a little hint of the Paris, and then a little hint of the Apricotine, and just like little pieces of palettes that are all kind of put together. You have a little bit of color and mostly neutral, slightly cool tone shades in here. It's rosy, but not too rosy. It's a really nice one. I have used this quite a bit. I don't know if you guys can see like the damage I have done to this, because it's so wearable, and I really, really like this color right here. These really soft lavenders, I don't know, there's just something about it that I've just been really digging. It's just something that I've really been enjoying lately. Next up, this is one that I've actually haven't done a tutorial on, and I can't believe that I haven't. Someone left a comment saying that I needed to do a tutorial with this, and I was like, didn't I do one? I thought I had done one. I probably did a look and wore it on camera and thought that I had done the video and I hadn't. Or it could have been one of those times where I did the look and then my camera wasn't working or something. That I can't even tell you how many times that happened. But this is the Dark Edit palette. This is like a good choice if you like the darker mattes, but you want to have the dark, warmer mattes, but also some metallics in here. This whole row down here are metallic shades, and then these 2 rows are matte. It's the perfect combination of matte to the metallics, and this gold, it's like metal. See this? It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Then we have the Warm Edit. Now, the only reason why this one is further down is because, like I said, I don't tend to go for these shades as much. I think this palette is so good. So quality-wise, it really doesn't deserve to be further down. It really doesn't. I just don't gravitate towards these oranges as much. I've used it quite a bit. I really like it. I believe I've talked about it in the favorites. And you're not going to pry it out of my hands. Like, I still love this palette. But in comparison to the other ones, color-wise, color scheme, it's just not something that I gravitate towards as much now. With that being said, I like how they did this. I like that it's not too orange, but it's not boring either. It's just a really nice combination. And I like that they have this maroonish purple in there, because I think that those really complement golds and oranges. I think that if they would have taken that out, it wouldn't have been as interesting. But just having that one little purple in there makes it prettier. I don't know. Am I alone in that, or do you guys think that too? I think you guys think that too. Second to last, I have the Koi palette. And I feel so bad even having this down here. Like, I don't want to put it down there because I really like it. It's just the fact of the matter that I do grab for the Grande too when I'm trying to find, you know, those metallics and everything. And this is an all shimmer palette as well, so I don't find myself reaching for it. This is one that while it was on the floor, I kept putting it more towards the middle, and then I kept saying, well, when's the last time you picked it up? And I'm like, well, you know, I don't really remember. But then I was like, playing with it and swatching it, and I'm just like, but I really like it. But then I have to be realistic, and I know that I do not gravitate towards this one as much as I do some of the other ones. So while I think this is amazing, and I really love the colors in here, and I love that they are more on the muted side, I know that I picked the other one up more, meaning the Grande 2. It's just what I reach for when I think about a palette that is all sheen. I say sheen because instead of just, you know, the metallics, the shimmers, whatever, I just say a sheen. I think about the Grande 2 before I do the Koi, but this is really pretty. Now the palettes that kind of made me start falling out of love with Viseart before I fell in love again. I had another one of these and I returned it. I was like, what did I do? I returned it. This is the Viseart, what are these called? The Theory palette. This is the MINX. And these are just, I don't know, like when you swatch them, the metallics look so beautiful. But then when they're on your eyes, they're just mediocre to me. The mattes perform really well. This is something that people that don't want a lot of sheen, they don't want to have anything accentuate anything on their eyes. Like say you have, you know, slightly crepey or dryness on your eyes, you don't want that to be accentuated. Yes, you are going to love these metallics. But personally, they're just not my vibe. So this is something I never reach for. I tried it so many times when I first got it, and I was really excited about it when I first got it, and then it's just kind of, yeah, I don't know. And then I don't remember the other one that I had. I don't remember the name of it, but I returned it. And then I also returned my TRYST palette. And I would say I would put the TRYST above this one. So this would still be bottom. But then before Koi, because Koi is, I still like the Koi, but that's where it stops. I don't really like this one. I don't really like the TRYST palette. There was something about the colors of the TRYST and how it was working that I just did not like on me. It didn't perform the way I wanted it to. I don't know. I just returned that one. But those are the only ones that I can think of that I know I didn't like were the Theory palettes that I bought and then the TRYST. I'm trying to think. I think I swatched some other ones like in store. I'm just glad that my love has been reignited and I have so many good palettes here. And like I said, if there's one palette that is just the bee's knees, it is the original neutral matte. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did by giving a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. Know that I love you and I'm thinking of all of you. Please stay safe and healthy. Now I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.